How do you run a building business and work from home? I don't know. What's up, guys? This is Coffee Break episode 3. I got my coffee. If you guys listen to the podcast, you know I drink the nitro and found out you can get it in a can. So that is my choice this week. We have a couple questions we're going to get to. First question. My name is Chris McLean. I run a carpentry company called Fresh Cut Carpentry here in Perth, Western Australia. You guys have killer architecture, so very jealous about that. Would love to know how you transitioned from becoming a specialist trade subcontractor to becoming a builder and what steps you took to go to that next level. I'm about to make the transition myself to become a builder, and I'm not really sure where to go from here. I'd love to know how you went from your transition to become the builder you are today and what skills you had to acquire to get there. Thanks. Chris, I wish this was as easy as the question made it sound. I don't think there was any period where it was just today I'm subcontracting, tomorrow I'm going to be a builder. My goal always was to build a building company. Originally, I thought that it was going to be a two-man show. We're 13 today. We'll probably continue to grow. I think it's really number one, setting that goal. If you want to be a builder and you want to build homes and you want to control that, whether it's a general contractor, a renovation specialist, or anything, you're looking to do more or reduce or remove this subcontracting for another contractor, then you need to make incremental steps to get there. Some of the things you ask for, what skills are important, absolutely teaming up with people that fit what you're not good at. So for me, bookkeeping wasn't something I was, really that great at. I knew I needed to understand it, so I spent time to understand it, but then I hired someone that that was better at it. I think that's really important as a skill set in general, is hiring the right people to fulfill the roles that you aren't good at. So if you're, I think Ben, who's been on our podcast, Ben Horning, he likes the business side of this, where a lot of these guys, and yourself probably included, go into this for the craftsmanship side as a carpenter. You don't want to become a builder so you can do paperwork. Ben really enjoys that side of it, building a business, doing paperwork, things like that. You should focus on what you would genuinely enjoy. Now, to speak specifically to myself, I was a carpenter. I did genuinely enjoy that, but more of me enjoyed building a business, building a team, and building it into what it is today. So that's where my passion really started to develop a lot more than the carpentry side. Yeah, I would like to be hands-on, even if it was just from a hobbyist level, more than I am today. But I genuinely have fun building a team and building this business and kind of seeing how we can grow in different avenues within this industry. So to speak to the steps that I took, I think what it was really developing relationships with people I wanted to work with. There were oftentimes I was a sub to another builder for the carpentry on a job, and there might have been a time where a client had said, "Hey, we'd like to hire you to do something else." That's touchy, that because you need to make sure that you respect someone brought you in on that job, and in that case, and we can talk about that, in another question, but that's a respect level. They need to understand that you've been hired as a subcontractor. Just like when you become a builder and one of your subs is asked, you would expect them to come back to you and say, "Hey, listen, Mary has asked me to, do electrical work on the side or build her a deck on the side." The respect would be to let the general contractor know. So I would assume, being in carpentry and judging by my experience, you've probably been asked about that, and to handle that needs to be a conversation with the GC. But I think that's where, if you're already at that point where you're looking to transition, you've probably kind of went through that, and now you're just at a point in your career where you want to move on and kind of get rid of the smaller projects and move on to something larger. And it's going to start with one thing, and I think for us, one of our first projects as a GC was a kitchen renovation, and then from there we did a partial gut renovation, and did smaller projects and kept growing and doing larger and larger projects. So the steps are really the same as when you did your first carpentry project. You probably did a small carpentry project that turned into a larger one. it's the same thing. It's going to snowball, and it's not that clear cut, change between I'm a carpenter, I'm a GC. There's these small incremental steps where one day you're just going to realize, oh, I'm not even subbing. I'm not a sub to anyone anymore, and it's just that natural progression. So I think the key takeaways is hire people that can replace what you're bad at, such as accounting. If maybe, speaking from my experience, I was an okay cabinet maker. I've hired great cabinet makers. I was a good carpenter. I've hired better carpenters. I am a good business owner and business leader. I believe that. So I don't feel as though I need to hire someone to run the business. In your position, if you're a better carpenter and not as good of a business leader, maybe that's an opportunity where you look into hiring a business manager or someone that is business savvy, that can, whether it's a partnership or an agreement that helps develop your business and grow. That's another opportunity that you could take. So hopefully that helped. So I have another great one from Brennan Blair. I've been working with a small company for 5 years and have decided to start doing my own thing. I've created an LLC and I've had some work coming in, but not as much as I'd like. I'm a timber framer and specialize in new timber frames and also rehab to early homes and barns. The gentleman I've worked for is still in business and joins in with me on larger projects, vice versa. My question is, how can I market myself and utilize the portfolio I've built while working with him, although the jobs were not awarded to me? I was still the one running the show as a lead on almost all the jobs. Do you think it's misleading to market some of the projects as things I've done? I hope to hear back. Thanks. So this starts with the conversation with the gentleman that you work with. That's something that he needs to be okay with. I truly believe that you would be surprised to know that there's a lot of guys that are in this field that you're probably seeing post work that they might not own the business, and that's totally okay. For instance, and I think where you're trying to draw the line here is that you're trying to start your own company. But let's just play it as though you work for him. You can be proud of the work that you're producing under someone else's company. Ken, Mike, Nick, they're all posting stuff that they're doing here at NS Builders, and for whatever reason, if they were to decide to take another opportunity or start their own company, in my opinion, it would be unfair for me to say that, hey, they can't utilize any of that as their own. Now, if they were misleading their client, saying that this is my project, and I've done it it was under my, say Ken starts a company, Ken Builders, these are all the projects that we've done under Ken Builders, that would be misleading. And that would be unfair. So, promoting and using what you're doing, together or for this guy has to be, number one, okay with him. Promoting it through social media, really talking about the process of it, and talking about, and crediting that guy, crediting that company. I don't think I'd go as far as putting it on my website, because your website wouldn't be a project that you've done under your own company. I would really focus on, honing in on the projects that you are doing under your own company, because it sounds like you guys are working on projects that are currently active. So maybe the website is very, quote unquote, under construction, and there's, a bunch of coming soon, or maybe you have an architectural plan or a rendering of what it's going to look like. You can put that on the website, promote that, and add content under that, to support the construction of that. Final products that weren't built under that company shouldn't be promoted as they were. And that's really important to have that distinction. From a personal brand standpoint, say social media, posting that on your social media account as something that you built and you were part of, absolutely, that's personal. That's something you've done. You were a super, you were a lead carpenter, you were a cabinet maker, whatever the case may be. That's who and what you do. So that is very different, and maybe you can take people from the website and lead them to your personal account, and they get to see your backstory, and then that kind of fills the void of, we don't have a lot of completed projects on the website, but take a look at my portfolio of what I've done through the course of my life and for the other companies I've worked for. because then there's some solidity to that, and they're seeing projects and understand, oh, this guy has built timber frames for X amount of years, 10 years, whatever. He's just going off on his own now. So he's got a portfolio, but just nothing under his new company. So I think that's the way I'd probably swing that. How do you market to people that are in a different market than you're working today? I genuinely believe, and I look at we call it the client avatar, like who are the people that we're working for? What do they do for work? What do they like? Roughly how old are they? Like we take those considerations in, and we want, there's good and bad clients, right? So if we're getting, consistently good clients that are of a particular avatar, then maybe that's who we should be working for, because we're the most successful with them. So what's really important to note is that when we started our company, or when I started my company, it was just me. And then it grew to 2, and then consistently grown up to 13, is that every project that we did, we poured in everything we had. And, from a financial side, there was times where we were using profit to make a job better. And I've talked about this before, is taking a portion of that profit that you might have made on that job, dumping it back into the project for something cool. And I talk about our Watertown project with that double U-shaped staircase. That staircase was budgeted as a traditional staircase. We upgraded it to a U-shape for no cost, to the client. And we weighed that out and said, we're going to take a portion of the profit of the project, dump it back into this staircase, because we want to make this project a little bit cooler, so we can market to a little bit higher, or a little bit different market, not necessarily higher, a different market, someone that wants that staircase. But the other side of that, specifically to the Watertown, we've never built a U-shaped staircase. So besides the fact that we didn't really know how to price it, we looked at it as an opportunity to educate ourselves and learn. So we monitored it, and we realized that we were going to spend some of our profit to do this, but we were going to net a lot of great things out of it. The education for our guys, the opportunity to photograph something really great, the opportunity to give the client something more than they paid for, and then level up that market. And I did that strategically. I say strategically, probably less strategically than I think. I did that a lot on our projects, because every year that client avatar has changed. So every year we try to up the ante and do a little bit better work. But one thing that remains consistent is the amount of detail and the amount of effort that we put into it. The biggest thing I talk about all the time is that I want us to stand back and look and say, that is the very best I can do, individually and as a team. Everyone should feel as though they're giving their 100% effort behind every single step. And that is going to push us, so the next job is going to be better than the last. We're constantly getting better and better and better and better. So if you're constantly getting better and better and better and better, these are small steps, but that is going to allow you to elevate into a higher market. Now, I think the question probably was specifically like, how do I market to those people? Well, showcase the things that, are great about the smaller projects. Maybe it's the finer details. For us, we have the cabinet and millwork shop. We're showcasing the cabinetry and millwork. It might be a small vanity, but we're talking about the grain matching and the ultra detail that goes into that. So, that can be attractive to a client that wants an entire grain match kitchen. There are details and opportunities to showcase things in your smaller projects to market to the larger market. And I think, honestly, they're small steps, but every so often you're going to get this opportunity where that small step becomes, 4 or 5 steps all in one shot. How do you run a building business and work from home? I don't know. I'm going to answer that and another question. What have we done to adapt to the current times? I am sitting in my office right now, 6 feet apart from this camera and Doug, not as far apart from this cute one. But we have looked at everything that we do and implemented all of the suggested safety precautions. We're working with a safety manager that's helping us make sure that we're abiding by those, but also just, individually talking and keeping in communication with everyone to make sure that everyone's comfortable, everyone's healthy. We're checking in on that. Our projects have been, reduced down to just 2 active job sites that the same guys stay on all week. There's no intermingling. The guys that can work from home are working from home as much as possible. I am working from home as much as possible, and checking in, with the jobs once a week, and then touching base here in the office once a week, make sure we get the mail, and Marley usually comes with me. So, in short, we're doing our best. We're abiding by all the rules and regulations. It is difficult, and I understand how much more difficult it could be for us. But we are, doing everything in our power to keep people healthy and be part of flattening this curve. So appreciate you guys submitting your questions this week. If you guys do have questions, make sure you submit them to the email below, and include a video so we can include it here in this coffee break series. If you guys are wondering where the rest of our videos are, we are still working on our new series called Crafted, which is a more refined version of what we're doing here in the shop as well as our jobs. We're just a little bit more spaced out with our releases because of everything that's going on. But stay tuned because we have another great episode coming up super soon.